Hi everybody, and welcome to our 31-day challenge. Once again, I'm Geraldine Orozco, and today we're going to dive into a topic that's really coming up. And I was kind of wondering why this topic keeps coming up over the last couple weeks, and it's interesting, but astrologically, this is a really key day where trust is something that's really coming up for a lot of people. And coincidentally, I did some healing sessions today, and the sessions that I did today, every single one was about this exact topic. It was about trusting the self, issues with trusting ourselves. So it's a really big topic, and it's something that really affects our lives and how we're creating, how we're experiencing things. So let's dive right into it. So one of the things that we kind of realize over time as we begin to connect with ourselves is we really get tuned with those emotions, the difficult emotions that are really hard to process and to, really break down that programming, that deep programming that makes up the fear-based programs that are really driving our behaviors, really driving the way that we do things, the way that we express ourselves. And so these are the kind of programs that we want to focus on looking at and working with. Because what ends up happening is that we end up being a product of all kinds of programs and belief systems that we realize sooner or later that they're conflicting with what we are intuitively feeling is in alignment with our expression. So that's where we kind of want to take a deep dive into and take a look at how these programs first came into our mind. Why are we expressing ourselves that way? And over time, they solidify into the ways that they are basically designing our behavior. So to change that, we really have to look at not just one of these experiences, but kind of review the cyclical patterns of this behavior and begin to identify how deep does that programming go and how deep is our expression and how much we're expressing that in our lives. And a lot of times what we're going to find out is that we're really expressing this in many different ways. It comes out in our relationship, it comes out in our family, it comes out in our work, it comes out in how we feel about ourselves. This is a really big problem because when it's time for us to step up to the plate and come into this creator self where we begin to manifest a lot of things that we need in this life, like money, relationships, our path, we really doubt that we have the ability of coming into those expressions naturally, because we have been so heavily programmed to be codependent on things that are outside of ourselves, that are basically the voice outside is so much louder to us because it's, we can feel it, we can see it, we can see people talking and saying that we have to doubt ourselves. And we go into these dynamics of seeking approval from other people. So that's when these cyclical patterns begin to really deteriorate our belief in our internal voice. So there's a disconnect there. And the disconnect between this internal voice is so impactful that over time, it not only affects our life experiences, like our work and friend relationships and so on and so forth, but it begins to affect our health too. Because how can we begin to heal our bodies and come into this full expression, this full power, if we don't trust the intuitive voice that's telling us what we need to come into that wellness? So wellness is a roundabout thing. I mean, there's many aspects to our wellness. And in order to come into that wellness, we have to address all of these aspects. Okay, and that's the same thing for anything. Now, one of the things that really affects our ability to trust ourselves is the voices that have been programmed since childhood. So in a lot of work that I do with my clients, we really go back to the root cause of this emotion. And this emotion can be something that you're feeling just throughout your day, something that it kind of creeps up, it starts to feel up, it comes up as an anxiety, it comes up as a doubt, it comes up as a feeling that you are feeling stuck and you can't move forward, or it doesn't let you, go ahead in your career or your projects, whatever you're doing, because you're second guessing what you're doing. You're second guessing your expression, you're second guessing how you're going to do things. And so it becomes a really toxic daily pattern where you're constantly blocking yourself from coming into your highest expression. So this affects the physical body, because in the physical body, any anxiety or any feelings of blocking movement has to do with the right side of our body, the divine masculine. And as you know, the multidimensional body are layers that are storing this information. So if we feel it on the right side of the body, or if it expresses itself as the masculine expression within us, we're not going to be able to move forward. We won't be able to come into action. We're going to be stuck. Some of you might get depressed. The energy is blocked there. From the feminine perspective, it's the creativity, the creation aspect, right? The divine feminine is in charge of, in her womb, nurturing life, bringing life into creation. So anytime that we have these concepts blocking ourselves, we will not be able to come into the creative life force. And this is not just for women. This is the feminine expression within the man. So the man will also be blocked. He won't have inspiration. He won't be able to trust his intuition. He won't be able to act on those inspirations and intuitions and communications. And so a lot of people that come to me come with the problem feeling that they are blocked, feeling that they feel like they can't move forward, feeling that they can't trust their intuition, that they cannot come into that creative life force, that highest expression that's needed more than ever now. And especially for you that are healers, that are empaths, that are here supporting as service to others, this is one of the biggest blockages that we have, because we are still in between the dimensions of the physical plane and our highest expression. We believe that there is a separation between the two. So that programming, those thought forms really have to change, because what needs to come into the embodiment, what needs to be embodied, is that you are that God. You are that creative self. As a matter of fact, the truth that you're seeking outside of you, that's it. You are it. You are that truth. Everything that you are right here, right now, is the truth. And so if you continue to look outside of yourself for answers and for things and for people to tell you that you're good enough, or that you're perfect as you are, or that you have all the tools that you need, we can go to 20 million healers and convention centers and everything and be searching the rest of our lives. But if we don't understand that we are the creators projecting into reality all the experiences that we're having, we're really going to feel blocked. So that's really one of the most important things that we need in order to get in there. Okay? So one of the things that's really interesting is that as a collective right now, we are experiencing a lot of these things that internally have been coming up for the past couple of years. We are projecting into reality as a collective. Okay, so all that dark shadow stuff that we wanted to stuff down there, all of the doubt in ourselves, all of the fear, the emotions, all that is coming up now. Okay, because now we have to sit with ourselves, we have to sit with our emotions. So if some of you are starting to feel really down and stuck and depressed, let's take a look at that. What is causing these heavy emotions? Okay, a lot of this is coming up and it's highlighted. We are left with ourselves so we can meet ourselves. Why is trust such a big issue? Trust, we have listened to the voices outside of us and not the internal voice. So what that means is that when we do listen to the internal voice, what happens? We've been trained to completely disconnect from that voice and to not trust the messages that come up from there. One of the feelings and the emotions that come up when we go through that is one of fear that what message is coming up is not good enough, or it's going to be wrong, or it's going to be incorrect. So the invitation when it comes to working with trust is to sit with the feeling of rejection, to sit with the feeling of being wrong, to sit with the feeling of not receiving acceptance or love from others, because we come into these expressions that could be perceived as wrong. And it's really important to remember that whatever we express out into the world is perfect just as it is, because it's your perception, it's your journey. When we start coming into some of this healing work, that all of this heavy darkness, all these programs start coming up, it gets really dark to start looking at that. And a lot of us, we want to run away from that. We don't want to sit with those heavy, yucky feelings where the rejection comes up, okay? So that's one of the things that's incredibly important. And if you are on a journey to train yourself, to trust yourself, if you are on this journey, this is where it has to begin. How are you at managing and controlling yourself when you come into feelings of rejection, or not being good enough, or not being acceptable? Okay, so this is really important. So in your body, when you begin to sit down for the meditation, I'm going to guide you into that in just a moment. Notice how we want to squirm, how we want to move around when this emotion comes in. Okay, and so it's really important that we start working with that resistance to feel the emotions, because what we run away from is basically managing our life. We become a slave to that emotion, and it basically dictates how we are expressing ourselves, and more importantly, how the subconscious mind is projecting into reality the events that are happening in our life. And so that's when things start to get messy, because of course we live in such a highly stimulating lives that everything that we see outside, we take it at face value. And a lot of us, we put our definition and our acknowledgement of ourselves on what we're receiving or reflecting from those around us. And so that's where we give our power away. So another thing that I want to focus on is when we are looking at these emotions and we're running away from those heavy emotions, there's another second part that happens, and it's the part where we abandon ourselves, right? So what's happening in that moment? We are being trained to abandon ourselves in the time where you need yourself the most, which is that moment of listening to the messages that come up and trusting them. And trust is a very interesting, one of the most beautiful lessons, I think, as humans that we experience, because we really have to surrender completely to that need to control the outcome of things. Okay, so it's this battle, this internal battle to need to control what's happening. And a lot of us, we want that control because we have learned that when we are in control, it means hopefully that we won't end up in pain. But in reality, the more that we try to control things, the more we realize that we cause more of that control energy, which is the wounded masculine, right? The wounded masculine wants to be in control, but when he doesn't have that control, it begins to feel unworthy. It begins to feel that it's complete imbalance, an acknowledgement of themselves. And so the ego really has a hard time with that. So in the process of healing, of coming into the ability to trust yourself fully, these are the things that you're going to be facing. These are the things that are going to come up for you. So as they come up, we go into the third thing, right? The first thing is addressing the emotions that come up of resistance. The second one is letting go of that control. And the third then comes into coming into that compassion, being aware that in order to allow yourself to really let yourself go and be this expression that you are with all your trust, just listen to the guidance that comes in, even if it may be perceived as wrong or right. You're always going to realize that everything that you've done in your life is going to turn out fine. It's going to be good for you. There's always a reason for everything that comes up. And when we listen to the internal guidance system, usually it always takes you exactly where you need to go. even though sometimes those roads can be dark, sometimes they can be difficult. There have been times in my life, I know, that I was really at a crossroad. And normally you would think the right way would be this way, right? Because we are trained to look at certain little signs that tell us what's right. But in reality, when you take the risk of taking another road by trusting your intuition, you realize, oh my God, now we have all this information coming up that in reality, that was exactly what was in alignment with you. So it takes bravery, okay? You have to be brave. And that braveness, it builds confidence. And this is the step into coming into self-love, okay? We begin to love ourselves by training little by little this kind of trust daily. And I say this a lot in my videos every day. We have to love ourselves by trusting that intuition, whether it's choosing orange juice or water, whether it means sitting down to meditate or going out for a jog or picking this job or writing back to that email. We got to trust the intuition that says yes, no, throughout your day. It's little things like that that we can do in our very busy lives where we have lots of opportunity to use and to train ourselves in this aspect. So there's really no excuse for us to not have the time dedicated away from our life to begin to practice this. The question is, are you brave enough to trust yourself? Do you love yourself enough to really support yourself in a state where you're going to be trusting all the messages that come up? Okay? And the control factor really wants to play a role in that. Okay, so it's going to take some time. And today's exercise that I'm going to guide you for, today's meditation, we're going to be taking a look at that emotion of resistance that really comes up. And we're going to sit with that. We're going to work with that. We're going to work through it so that you can then come into your highest expression. So this is a really valuable practice that you can come back and revisit some other time when you start feeling that blockage again. It's important for you to continue working through that all the time. And there's many layers to this. Okay, so you may feel like you've already done the work, you've already done it, but are you living completely in alignment with yourself and with your core beliefs? If you're not living in alignment with your core beliefs, if you're not really doing the things that are in alignment with you, then there's a disconnect there. Okay, our expression of who we are on the highest plane is what's inside of us. So if we're living in our truth inside, if we're listening to our truth, if we're listening to that guidance system, we're going to be living our truth in the external plane, okay? You're going to be in alignment with that job, with the relationship, with friends, families. All of these interactions will be in alignment with your highest expression. So this is incredibly important for you to work on, and let's get started, okay? I want you all to inhale deeply and exhale. We're going to begin by inhaling deeply, being mindful of that rhythm of the breath that comes in and out of the body. Just slowing the body down, bringing the body into a state of relaxation, of calm. And you're going to inhale again and exhale, connecting with the body. As we come into a stillness, begin to recognize any resistance within you that doesn't want to be still right now. That's going to be the first step. Go ahead and tap into that. Any part of you that doesn't want to be still, just take a look at it, observe it. We're going to be in the observer state. So part of the time we're going to be in the body, feeling things that are happening, and then we're going to learn to bring ourselves up as if we're at the top of our brain, looking down at our body, and we're kind of observing what's occurring with those emotions in the body. Okay, that's the observer state. So take a look at yourself. What does your body want to do with those emotions? What do those emotions want to express? How do they want to move around your body? What parts of the body begin to feel fidgety or funny? Take a note of that. You're going to inhale deeply And exhale. Very good. Feeling more calm and more relaxed. Now that we've come into a state of relaxation, we're going to go deeper. So we're going to ground ourselves. And I want you to begin to review the past 24 hours. Go ahead and take a look at that. The past 24 hours. Taking a look at all the events that happened over the past 24 hours where you felt stressed or you felt anxiety, fear. Go ahead and review them. Almost as if you're watching a movie of yourself in these events. Observe yourself. How do you react in those experiences? Just take a look at yourself. You're going to inhale deeply and exhale. You're going to go back to the past week. Take a look at the past 7 days, at all the things that have happened that have triggered you, taken you out of balance. And I want you to start to look at which one of these events had to do with you not trusting yourself. Take a look at that. Where was there a communication this week that we doubted, that we felt stuck, blocked? Take a look at yourself. I want you to select one of those memories. You're going to go to that memory. Go ahead and bring up that event. So you're going to pretend that you are replaying that event in your mind. You're going to take yourself there. And as you begin to observe yourself in that event, go ahead and take a look at yourself. What are you doing? What are you feeling in that moment when you are not trusting yourself? Tap into those emotions. What are the emotions that come up? What happens when we need to listen to a communication, to an internal guidance, and we don't? Take a look at what emotions come up. Sit still with yourself. Sit still with yourself and listen to those emotions that come up. Where are you feeling the emotions? Do you feel it more in your core? Do you feel it in your chest? Is it in your head, the back? Where is it? Is it in your neck? A lot of my clients tend to feel it in their neck, usually the back of the neck. But take a look at where you feel it. Now that you're here, I want you to tap into the emotions that come up. What emotions come up? As you focus on this pain or discomfort or where the body is really feeling it, let's communicate with that part of the body. What is the emotions that are coming up? Is it a resistance, a fear, an anxiety, a doubt? Go ahead and acknowledge what is happening in our bodies, in our minds. What is the emotional state when it's time for us to trust these communications? Take a look at that. I want you to select one of those emotions that is the strongest, that comes up the strongest. You're going to inhale deeply and exhale, and you're going to bring that emotion up into the body. Okay, bring that emotion up. Be absolutely present with this emotion that comes up. It's going to be quite strong in the beginning, and you're going to sit with it for a moment. Allow yourself to explore this emotion. What's happening here? What happens when this emotion comes up? What are we feeling? What are we thinking? And as you sit with it, you're going to come into a state of observation. Again, we're going to come up to the mind and we're going to look down at the body, observing what the body wants to do with this uncomfortable emotion. Okay? Go ahead and take a look at that. What does it want to do? Does it want to move somewhere else? Notice where in the body it wants to go, how it wants to affect you, and I want you to acknowledge what other emotions come up. What other emotions come up? Very good. Inhale deeply and exhale. You're going to tap into this emotion that comes up, my love, and I want you to recognize this emotion. How familiar are you with this emotion now? Okay. You're going to recognize that emotion. You're going to take yourself back to the first time that you felt that emotion. Where did this begin? Who was involved in the programming of this emotion with you? Take a look at that event that happened. You can go as far back as the womb, or you can even go a couple years back, a couple weeks back. Notice what really comes up. The memory that comes up, again, this is about trust. So whatever comes up, we're going to just listen and we're going to explore. Okay, this is the exercise in the making. So you are exploring what's coming up. So go ahead and take a look at the memory that came up for you. And notice the first time that you felt that emotion. Look at yourself as if you're watching yourself on a screen. Why do we feel this way? What is it about this exchange with this person, place, or thing that triggered this emotion? And I want you to notice, what is the belief system behind this emotion? Okay, how did we end up in that belief system? Go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to inhale deeply and exhale as you observe, as you explore this emotion. So I want you to ask yourself now that you are here, do you agree with this belief system? What brought you to these beliefs? Notice that. And I want you to ask yourself, is it true? What you believe in here, the belief that's being created by this event, is it true? Or is it a limited perception of the event? Is there some information that we're missing, that we're lacking in order for us to really understand what's occurring in this event? Take a look at that. And I want you to take your focus back to yourself now. Take a look at yourself. Where are you in this? What is the role that you're playing out as this emotion comes up, as it triggers you? What are the things that stop you from changing your reaction in this event? Take a look at those emotions that come up, the fears, the blockages. Take a look at that. What is it that you need now from yourself in order to not come into this belief system? What does someone need? What do they need from themselves? As you inhale deeply and exhale, take a look at yourself, whether it's a child or an adult. And if you are an adult doing this, in this memory, visualize yourself as a child. Children are, genuinely expressing what they need because they're connected with themselves. They know exactly what they need. Sometimes they don't know how to communicate that or express that. But what is it that that child is needing, yearning for? Okay? Is it attention? Is it love? Is it connection? Is it acknowledgement, acceptance? What is it that that child needs? And I want you to recognize in this child yourself, when these opportunities come up in your current life, when does this child come up? Okay. And I want you to notice if some of these patterns that we're playing out, how does the ego respond to these patterns? Does the ego enjoy these patterns? How does the ego benefit from them? Is it an identity that's being created? Is something being preserved? Take a look at that. Some of these programs are really complex. The origin of our programs are usually cyclical patterns that come down from our parents. So this is an opportunity for you to identify your parents' beliefs. Okay? Take a look at that. Where did they get their beliefs for these kinds of programs? Why do they play them out? Do you notice that their ego is also crying out for something or needing something and trying to collect that through these patterns of behavior? Take a look at that. This is where we begin to understand ourselves. Okay, we understand ourselves, and when we understand ourselves and our truth, we can understand the truth of others. And we can see what's real. We realize in these practices that sometimes, we have been basing our patterns of behavior on maybe illusions, things that are not really true, but we believe that they were because someone told us or showed us. So take a look at what you need to correct that belief system, to balance it back into a truth. And truth is the whole. That is a whole balanced perspective of what you're experiencing in this moment. What do you need? Go ahead and see that child there, and you're going to provide that child with everything that it needs. You have uncovered a fragment of yourself. So as you know, whenever we go back to these memories, these traumatic situations, what we're visiting are fragments of information. These are actually vibrational imprints that are stuck in our multidimensional body. So you may think that you took a journey down memory lane, but in reality, you're accessing your multidimensional body. Okay? And so you've accessed a point in your multidimensional body in which is holding on to stagnant information. This point is connected to a physical point and an energetic and an emotional point in your body. So when you heal this fragment of yourself, you're actually releasing all of those programs that are connected to the other layers that make up your whole. So go ahead and provide a balanced perspective for this fragment of yourself, bringing it into wholeness, into truth. And only you know what's true. Okay? By being absolutely authentic and honest with yourself, looking at all sides to become aware. That's what it is. We're becoming aware in this moment, in this experience, consciously aware of everything that's occurred to us, through us, okay, and for us. So now that you have seen that fragment of yourself, you're going to visualize breathing in, taking back your life force, because these fragments of ourselves are holding on, tying to knots of information and energy. So we take back our life force, and we also release life force that no longer serves us. You're going to visualize eliminating all of the programs that don't serve you anymore. The fear-based programs, feelings of doubt, the parts of the ego that want to play out, everything that you're understanding in your mind is changing your vibrational signature. So you're going to just release whatever we released that we no longer need anymore out of the body. And as you take back that fragment into the body, you're going to just bring it. You're going to notice that the part of the body that was feeling out of alignment is more relieved. Okay? That stress, and it might take you a little more time to kind of look at it deeper, and I invite you to do that as well. But we're going to take that fragment and we're going to eliminate completely all of those aspects of ourselves that are no longer serving us. Okay, very good. Inhale deeply and exhale. You're going to visualize cutting cords with the people that were involved in those events. It's incredibly important that you do this because you're also tied to the network. This is ancestral work. Ancestral work is in the DNA. Those are programs that are holographically stored and designing our behavior and our lives. Don't forget. So this is where we start working with the extended aspect of ourselves. The family, you're going to cut cords, you're going to release those programs, breaking contracts. So you're going to shine your light on top of them. You're going to see a contract. Contracts are energy exchanges or agreements to experience things. So you're going to break that agreement to experience this. And we are very grateful for the lesson. You have learned what the lesson is, and the lesson is that through this experience, you've become aware of your own sovereignty. You've become aware of your creator self. You've become aware that you need not abandon yourself when you come into these experiences anymore, and that you can love yourself. So you're going to break those old contracts that you don't need anymore, dissolving them and cutting cords. Inhale deeply and exhale. Some of you might have those cords really intertwined into the multidimensional body, etheric and physical. So just becoming aware of where they are and just removing them totally out of your body. So inhale deeply and exhale, releasing all of that completely. Okay, very good. Now that you're done here, you're going to go back to clearing all of these memories of the past. Okay? And I just want you to see while you're doing that, all of the fragments of yourself that doubt yourself, that doubt your healing abilities, that doubt your ability to express, to ask for your needs to be met. The fragments of yourself that don't feel good enough, don't feel powerful enough. Take a look at those in front of you. And I want you to provide them with everything that they need in order to understand and know that they are safe in coming into their highest expression. What do they need? Take a look at that. Give it to all of your fragments. Now, these are very deep belief systems. So we are clearing this out, and it's going to move energetically a lot out of your space, okay? So as you clear it out, you're going to see them transform, and you're going to let them go out of your space. And they're going to merge into one light. I want you to inhale deeply, taking back those expressions into your body. Taking back the good, releasing what no longer serves you. So all of those belief systems of doubt or toxic programs, you're just going to let that go. Very good. Very good. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. As you integrate yourself with all of your fragments back into yourself, you're going to feel a shift energetically. You're going to feel a shift emotionally. Okay? And I want to invite you to come back into the room now. You're going to open your eyes. You guys did such an amazing job. Now, the hardest part of this practice is usually facing those really deep feelings of rejection, the feelings of the programs that were caused in childhood of not being good enough or not being accepted just as you are. And the belief systems that came in to make you feel that you weren't worthy of yourself, okay? Those are going to be the hardest ones. So I really invite you to take the time to go deep into those emotions and figure out what is it that you need to change that program. Provide it for yourself so that you can come into your highest expression once and for all. Because right now, the trust in yourself is the ability to be there for yourself. There is nothing outside of us. We are the truth. We are the creators individually, and every one of your expression is a very important puzzle piece to the whole. So if we can drill that into our brain and remember that, we will gently move ourselves away from replaying these programs of self-doubt that are quite toxic and blocking and depressing, okay? And it also reminds us that we are really one. We're never separate. We're never alone. Each one of us has an important role, and we incarnated here in this body by the laws of the universe and the laws of all the laws of physics, of mathematics. You are a unique expression of the universe, of that infinite consciousness here to express yourself in a specific way. So nobody needs to give you permission to do that, okay? So thank you so much for joining me for today's meditation, for being part of the challenge, taking time out of your incredible day to come and join me and do some of this work. I'm very grateful for your time. And if you have any questions, please write it down below. If you want to work one-on-one with me, please give me a shout out. I'm here to help you and guide you even deeper one-on-one on some of these sessions, okay? Because I know some of us need some help sometimes. I'm here to hold space for that. And I don't do anything. It's all you. All right, my loves. So I hope you guys have an incredible day. And those of you that are feeling down, that are feeling by yourself, please, my loves, I want to remind you that you are not alone. I saw a message here from our really good friend. Please don't feel down in this quarantine. Let's take a look at that. You know, why is that coming up? Why do we feel depressed when we feel isolated? Okay, are we stepping into a place of fear? Okay, are we surrendering ourselves to the external illusion of the world when we are the creators, when we are the ones that have to take power and design our experience at every moment? Okay, so please connect with me if I can be of service to you, and please know that you're not alone. For God's sakes, we are one, and right now is a powerful time for us to unite, to rise and get really clear by trusting the internal dialogue what we need to do to create this new earth that we're building. Right now we're building it internally. We have to express it out into the external and become this new world that we need to create. Okay, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, you guys. So do the work, okay? All my love. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for your messages, you guys. Yes, Denise, let's do that for sure. I'm totally waiting. Hi, Saeed. Thank you so much for joining. All my love. Cedric. Much love to you. Juan, thank you so much. Unique. Thank you, guys. Mahara, Sonia, Cherie. Hey. Tody, Cody. So many of you. I love you guys so much. You guys are beautiful. Have an incredible night, and I will see you soon. Sonia, I have beautiful porcelain skin. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Sonia, so much. I can put some tips up. Yeah, you can tell you what I do. Nothing special. So, a lot of water. That's the trick. Thank you. Thank you so much, Edwin. All my love. Good night.